All right. I just wanted to show some modifications to the video I just did, because when I first started doing these movements, I was very limited. It was just kind of right after I hit that downward spiral with my physical body. And with diet and some other changes that I've made, I've been able to increase that. But when I first started, my range of motion was very limited, and to the point where I couldn't even feel like I could move my foot around without hitting the floor. So I stood on a block, which was really helpful for me. I don't know if you can see this back a little bit. So I stood on a block, held onto a chair, hand on my hip, and then just did my range of motion that way. I started very small, and that's okay. And I started with 5 each way. And then over time, I was able to increase and go to 10, like I did in the first video. Then other side, right? Same thing with the forward and back, kept it really small. And the hardest part for me was coming out and across, so I just kept it small. I went straight and then as far across as I could go. It wasn't very far. I kept straight down and then across using my inside thigh right here. Even if you can only go wherever you can go. And then over time with consistency, it will get easier and easier to move right there. So for the hips, I like to put my hands on my rib cage when I'm moving my pelvis. So hands on the rib cage, and then you move your pelvis forward, to the side, back, to the side. So you want to do a little pelvis tilt, so crunching your pelvic up to your rib cage, and then bend your left knee as your hip goes to the right, and then you just kind of push your glutes back, bend your right knee as your hips go to the left, and then forward. So here we go. And then over time, you can increase the range of motion and the speed of the movement as you bend your knees. And same thing other way. You can start slow. Forward, left, back, right. And then over time, you can start to move a little more. Increase the range of motion and the speed. When I'm moving my rib cage, I like to put my hands on my hips to remind my pelvis to stay forward, because this is about the upper part of my body. And same thing, you're just gonna move your rib cage forward. So it's like a little crunch, and then your rib cage goes to the right. So your right shoulder kind of lifts a little bit. And then I like to just keep my shoulders back and down and open my chest, slight arch of the spine, whatever your body can do comfortably. I usually do this in the morning so I don't push it too far. Left and forward. And then over time, you can increase the range of motion and the speed. So it's just a slight arch. So crunch forward, rib cage right, slight arch back, rib cage left, and then the other way. With your arms, now this is, if you have some shoulder injuries, this could be a tricky one. If you've had some shoulder limitations, I would say just start. I was able to go all the way around when I first started, because that's not where my issue was. My issue is in my hips and my lower back. But if you need to, just forward and back, forward and back. 5 to 10 times, whatever your body can do, and then you can start to move around. Take your time, and then over time, you can start to increase the speed, right? Same thing, forward and back, 5 to 10 times, and then with consistency, you can increase each day. So you can get a little higher, and then when you feel like you're ready, you can start to take slow circles around and then increase the speed. With your arms, shoulders back and down, I like to crunch my shoulder blades together, alternate the crosses. Crunch my shoulder blades together, open your heart, and alternate the crunches. So you're squeezing your shoulder blades together, and then apart. Together, apart, together. Make sure you're not crunching here, okay? Make sure your shoulders are back and down. And then your neck, I'm still at 5 each way. So obviously chin down don't overdo it, right? Just gentle, chin down. Gentle, right ear to right shoulder, keeping your shoulders back and down. And then just do those slow circles. Maybe start with 3 each way, and then 3 the other, and then increase to 5, right? All right, that's it. Hope that helps. Ask me any questions if you need to.